In Myrtle Beach, you always go at your own pace. Lie out on the sand, lie out by the pool, go boogie boarding, go surfing, walk the boardwalk, walk the marsh walk, golf at one of 90 golf courses, mini golf at one of 50 mini golf courses, fish off a pier, fish from a chartered boat, go shopping, get drinks, eat the freshest seafood. The list is exhaustive, but the experience isn't. You can go all out or do nothing at all. How you relax is up to you. There is so much to do and explore, whether you're traveling with friends, family, or just yourself. With 60 miles of beach, you're going to find your place. If this sounds like what you need, then this is where you belong.
Hey, do y'all like fishing for prizes? Maybe a trip to Costa Rica or a once-in-a-lifetime African safari? Well, the Grand Strand Fishing Rodeo is back. Thanks to the hard work of Visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Trilogy Outdoors Media, this once-popular event is back and is bigger and better than ever. This event is comprised of 12 monthly competitions that culminate in November with our annual banquet and expo, the celebration of fishing on the Grand Strand. New to this event is the freshwater division that will help include all of our anglers that live and visit the Grand Strand throughout the year. Monthly species winners will receive great prize packages from Bass Pro Shop and Surf Signs and Designs. But most importantly, they will receive an invite for them and a guest to our annual banquet and an entry in the grand prize drawing. So whether you fish the rivers, a pond, the pier, the surf, or a boat, you have a chance to win the grand prizes. To get signed up or for additional information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com and click on event. Also, you can visit any of our weigh stations and registration stations to get signed up as well. Best of luck to everyone, and we'll see you at the scale. Trilogy Outdoors. All right, folks, welcome to the Trilogy Outdoors podcast studio, coming to you live with the Senator. We are together. Senator's been a little under the weather, and you may hear some snuffles and some other things through the microphone, but we're going to get through this because, our days are numbered there, Senator.
Yeah, they are. Coming up, 3 weeks.
Is it 3 weeks?
It is.
Wow, so we've got the official countdown now started.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I've had a lot of people ask about it, ask about you, ask about where you're going and everything else, and, and mention the fact that they appreciated it and everything else, but you're going to a hot spot now, or has it calmed down a little bit since that earthquake or whatever that happened over there?
No, the Sudan is
Sudan. That's
super. Hot is hot's not the. But it is.
No,
hot. It is hot, but hot in terms of dangerous right now too. Yeah, Sudan's not a great place. Yemen's not a great place. I mean, nowhere in the Horn of Africa is it a good place.
Well, I keep forgetting how hot it is. Now, is it summer over there? Are they same as us? They're going to be the same as us.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, they are the same as us in terms of seasons, but they don't really have seasons. It's just hot. It's just hot. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I was actually about to look up the weather in Djibouti to see what it is today. I'll pull it up and let you know.
So it's a desert territory?
Yeah, it's desert.
So, I mean, is it true? All right, so here we go. I've never been to a desert. Do you have cold nights there?
In inland, you have colder nights, yeah. This is a coastal desert, and so evidently humid and hot all the time.
Right. So in your training that y'all been doing, of course, I'm just guesstimating. Has it? Have you been trying to train for the heat and things like that? You've had to train about and
a lot of training at Jackson, which is next to Djibouti, the hottest place.
Hottest place on earth. My dad went there for basic. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was miserable there.
It's 100 degrees right now in Djibouti.
Oh wow.
And it's 8 hours ahead, so it's 8 o'clock at night. No, it's 9:30 at night, and it's 98 degrees.
Okay, so all right, 8 hour. We got an 8 hour difference. Okay, good.
Yep.
So I'll just have to get up early if we want to. We can do some podcasts via Skype or something while you're gone. Well, I'll just have to get up super early if you have a opening, or get you up way early. Yeah, that would be right. Yeah, or you get up way early. Like one of the two. We do it at night, but. At any rate, so we were talking about Facebook. I saw Alan Wilson has
signed his name on with the Recreational Boating Fishing Alliance on this proposal, or what do you call it? I mean,
yeah, it's a rule proposal.
Yeah, rule proposal.
Yeah. NOAA's got a rule proposal right now to impose a speed limit.
Yeah, there we go.
On boats over 35 feet, which are a lot of center consoles now, 35 feet and over. A lot of center consoles, fishing boats, freighters for one.
Yep.
It come to mind. But most commercial boats, a lot of offshore fishing boats, almost all offshore fishing boats nowadays.
Commercial, what was I getting ready?
Shipping containers.
Shipping containers, there you go.
Yeah, everything, just about everything falls into that category. And the speed limit that they are trying to impose is no more than 10 miles an hour out to 100 miles.
Now, is this going to be only during that season, which still is like 4 months, isn't it? 5 months?
Oh, it's more than that. Yeah, it's like last time I looked, it was like August to May or something like that.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so forget about what it would do to the fishermen.
Yep.
Although I'm very concerned about that. Just think about what it does to commerce. Just the freight companies alone, the shipping companies alone. Think about, gosh, you've got to motor offshore less than 10 knots for 100 miles before you can start making your way up or down the coast.
Right.
The East Coast, 100 miles.
Yeah, and I would also venture to guess that a lot of those ships that make the Wilmington stop and then probably here and then Savannah or whatever, they never make it outside of 100 miles.
They never. So they're probably quadrupling. Those ships go 30 knots.
Yep.
They're quadrupling their time, tripling or quadrupling their time to destination. And I would imagine fuel and personnel expense, and it's going to cripple our coastal economies. And it's some bureaucrat sitting in a cubicle somewhere in Washington D.C.
Yep.
Probably never even seen a right whale other than online, and she or he thinks that's a great idea.
Yep.
That's a great idea. Slow down the boats. You won't hit as many whales.
Well, again, we combined the one day we talked about. I think we had seen three sightings of whales between the four of us or three of us.
Yeah, in 75 years of collective offshore boating experience.
Yeah,
or more.
3.
Yeah, 3 in 75 years of collective boating. 3 whales.
So you're going to cripple an economy to protect a whale that is a unicorn.
Yeah, hardly exists.
A unicorn. And listen, again, I argue to my dying breath that us as outdoorsmen and sportsmen are the first and foremost defense for the resources, in that we care for them as much as anybody does, especially those that don't hunt them and fish them.
Yep.
So it makes it's just complete mayhem. And it goes right along with NOAA. You talk about the video we put up, and if you haven't seen the video yet, you can go to our YouTube channel, Trilogy Outdoors, and check out the YouTube video. Stephen went down and got some great video. We talked about it on the last podcast. Well, I got it edited, got it up, and Stephen and I actually walked through it, talked about it, and really good video. Had a lot of comments on it, but a lot of comments about the number of red snapper in the doggone video.
Yeah. Yeah, I got calls from CCA and the Boating and Fishing Alliance that said that they wanted to use it and promote it, and it's just frustrating.
Yep.
It is a frustrating thing to see things, know things firsthand, see them with your own eyes, touch them with your own hands, and for somebody in a cubicle in Washington, D.C., in the federal government, to tell you you're wrong.
Yep.
There's very few things more frustrating than that, and we have, we here on the coast see the massive amounts of red snapper and what they're doing to our reefs and what they're doing to our grouper populations and our sea bass populations, and really the lack of coastal economies that have been stifled by the lack of fishing.
Yep, and I really want to go touch on one other subject real quick starting out. And then we do have a guest that's joining us, Chuck Easler from Gov World Auctions.
And World Net Auctions.
And World Net Auctions is going to join us, and we're going to talk to him about his business, a really large business, and talk to him here in just a little bit when he finishes up another meeting. But in the meantime, I've done a good bit of flounder fishing because of tournaments and taking the family out last Friday. And I'm going to have to fall in line with everybody else that is singing the praises of the changes in regulations that we had in 2020.
We had some in 17, and then we made another change in 20 or 21.
Where we went to 16 inches, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, and I'll tell you, big changes, big fish. I mean, I caught a 7-pound, 2-ounce, or 7.20 ounce flounder on Friday on the boat, and the young man that caught it had never caught a flounder in his life. He also never caught another one that day, but it was because we got so excited. We wanted to go weigh it at every single marina and have it weighed in, and it was live until we took the boat out the water, to be honest with you. But hey, I'm all for releasing them. We had one fish in the boat, and believe it or not, that one fish fed Winston, his 3 daughters, and a boyfriend. That one fish fed them all dinner the other night. So
I didn't know Winston had a boyfriend.
I'm good with it. No, his daughter's boyfriend. His daughter's boyfriend, not his boyfriend. But it was great, and it was one of those typical big flounder bites where he looked at me and said, "I think I got a stingray." And then he goes, "I think I'm hung." And I said, "No, you got a stingray." And, of course, 5 minutes later, after it continually pulled and drag, I tightened the drag up, assuming it was a stingray.
Yeah.
And then it finally came up. We saw it, and it dove again. And then I had the net, and then mayhem ensued on the deck of the boat as we were going crazy because that morning I talked to Winston, who had already signed up for the Grand Strand Rodeo, and I said, "Listen, here's the deal. We may go for Spanish, and we may go flounder fishing. Both of them are in the rodeo. Do you want to sign them up or not?" And he said, "Yeah, might as well." So I said, "All right, well, if you think about it, Mac, 2 weeks before, had come down and fished with us filming a TV show, signed up, and he was the leading Spanish mackerel. So it wasn't a bad idea. And as it turns out, Nate now has, I'm saying he's probably going to win the month. He may not, but I'm putting it on him that he may win the month, and he may end up with the biggest for the year.
7.2 is pretty dang.
It's pretty good.
Stout.
So if it doesn't hold up for the year, he probably will win the month. But the ironic thing is, the day we were going, that day, so we were making our run. We were going to hit all the marinas, and we were going to weigh it in at Perry's for the rodeo. And we were making our way to Perry's, and I got a text, and it was from Captain Chris Osman, who's one of our weigh stations on the north end, and it was his personal flounder that he had that was 5.8 pounds. And I literally hated. I was almost just not going to respond and wait till we go and weighed it and send him a picture of the scale. But I went ahead and responded. I said, "Nice fish any other month than this one."
Yeah.
And sure enough, he ended up getting his feelings hurt. But he said, "Don't worry, because the Sherman flounder will show up." And he said he catches some big one up there. So we'll see.
Yeah.
He'll have to go chase those. But
you mentioned the Sherman. Do you mind if I ask you where you caught yours, or is that too much?
I caught mine at in Charlie Cut. We called it in Charlie Cut. We called it at a popular spot. Yeah, we called it a real popular spot. Actually, one that we fished with the kids at.
So it was inshore. That was what I was trying to get at. It was an inshore fish.
It was inlet.
Yeah, inshore in the inlet, not offshore.
Not offshore.
Not at the 3 Mile or at the jetty
or at the jetties. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
We did spend some time. So we did go to the ocean. We chased Spanish around. I tell you, that new side scan is just unbelievable. It's cheating. I'm telling you, anybody you better listen to me now. I'm telling you, take this as the word of Captain E's fishing Bible. You better go get you one. I'm telling you, it is unbelievable, and you can see flounder on it. Anybody that says they can't see flounder, they don't know what they're looking at.
I want to see a school of blackfin tuna on it. I want to see what it looks like. I want, like when you see them out in the distance and you're like, is that bonita, is that blackfin? And you pull up to them offshore. I want to see them.
See what they look, yeah.
I want to see them dive. I want to see them come up. I want to know when to toss to them. I want to play with it enough to say, okay, that's worth investing on a big boat.
Right. So what we're talking about is the Panoptix. Garmin created a Panoptix live scope, and it is engineered to actually basically gives you a video picture on your screen on the boat of what is under the boat, what is in front of the boat. It depends on where you rotate that transducer. The way I've got mine rigged is it is on a separate pedestal beside the helm, and I run it. I can put it down while I'm, slow moving, and use it and pan around and find things. Now, what I found with the flounder is, so if I tune the gain up just a hair, I bring the gain up just normal. I keep everything on auto. I've kept it on auto so far. When I find an area of the bottom that I know I'm looking at a hole that I'm fishing, I can see easily in 8 foot of water, I can see 50, 60 feet easily. As long as it's not too shallow, then you start losing the picture off in the distance because it just, I don't know, I guess it breaks up because it's so shallow. But you'll see the bottom is yellow on that screen, and you find areas that look like they're like glitching. Like you'll see a little area in the yellow that's like glitching, like moving, and that is either a flounder or a stingray that's sitting on the bottom. We've proven it now. But then on the Spanish mackerel side of things, so I pulled it off, I dropped it down. We got out there. There was a school in front of us feeding, and I turned the thing to them, and I was just amazed. When you watch a school feed and you see 20 fish on top busting,
Yeah.
Under it, there was 100.
Right.
There was, and the poor glass minnows that were stuck in the middle of the top and the bottom, were just balled together. So we got over there. We made some casts. We were throwing small Carolina rigs with small leaders with a spoon on it, and catching them on that. And then they would go away. So I would take this and pan around, and I would find the school of bait with the fish still swimming around it, just not feeding on it. And we would go that way, and then literally within minutes, that school would be on top. They would be feeding, and we'd throw at them. It really makes a big difference. We saw a lot of big fish, and I'll say we don't know what they were. They were really, I would guesstimate sharks. There were some man-hated schools out there. But we saw some really big fish swim through the screen, not real fast, just kind of slow, lumbering along. And
Barracuda or kings?
We were in 18 foot of water. Maybe kings, but we were in 18 foot of water. We were right outside the jetties. But it's been incredible. And then I had to go catch bait on Tuesday or Monday for a little TV show I filmed, and I could not find any mullet. So I went back into Oyster Cove, dropped it down, and started looking at the ends of all the ramps. And I found schools of mullet that were suspended just off the ends of all the ramps and through the net, and ended up catching mullet that way. But it is incredible. I've got some learning curves on it, and I'll put some videos up. There's a couple things I want to, before I start talking about it, I want to have I want to know what I'm talking about.
So how do we transition this to, the larger center consoles, the offshore boats?
All right, so
without getting into the, the big stuff.
Right. So Saturday I went offshore. Fortunately, was Bunky Ford, owner of Blossman's Gas up in North Myrtle, was kind enough to invite me to go fishing. But then when I expressed our concerns for needing to fish 2 days in the Mahi series, he said, well, why don't you sign up and we'll fish and you can bring your guys with me. So we went, and he was showing me on his new center console that he's got, that he has it mounted on a trolling motor. Great idea. He's got it. Put it down, and we should have done it. We didn't think about it. We should have dropped it, put it down. When we caught a tuna, we caught some dolphin. We should have put it down and just looked to see. We didn't. I'll be honest, we never did. It just escaped my mind. Never did it. The downfall to this is I truly believe that, yes, it will help you. So if we go, all right, so if I go with you and your bottom's better than anybody because you've dived most of your spots that you fish. So if you go to pull up to it, you'll drop it down, your trolling motor down. Obviously, you're going to use it for spot lock and just go in, into your fishing area and look around, pan around with it, look and see and kind of pay attention to what's where and hope you can see it. But then once we get to fishing, it's locked. Like,
right.
You see what I'm saying? It's locked. And
pretty much, yeah.
And for me to fish behind me, which is where the current and everything is going to take my weight, I'm obviously going to have to get in front or on top of the spot that I'm fishing.
Right.
And this transducer is facing forward.
Way up front, facing forward.
So for me to turn around and get a quick look, I've got to turn the trolling motor off, turn it around.
There's got to be a better solution to this. That's what I'm saying. There's got to be like a through hole, some kind of through hole system that they come up with for big center consoles.
I agree.
Where you can, just like the what's the little throttle thing, like they're doing now on the bigger center consoles. There's like a joystick, basically.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The toggle switch.
Not fish locks. That's not what I'm talking about. But with the joystick.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
But like a toggle instead.
A toggle where you pan it around.
Right, where you can pan it and you can see it on the screen.
Yep.
It drops down, through a through hole fitting. It drops down. It pans around. It can pan down, pan up, pan sideways.
Yep.
They gotta be able to come up with something.
And you just described the Omni.
Yeah, well, yeah,
right.
Just
described the Omni.
It is but without going $120,000.
Yeah.
I mean, into an Omni, how do you do this? I mean, we're talking about a couple $1,000s, not
hundreds of $1,000s.
Right.
I agree, and I will say this much: like concern that Scotty from Marshall's had on my bracket that we put on my boat port is that it would hinder any larger fish if you're fighting it on that side of the boat. But honestly, all I have to do is pull one little lever, and it folds right up out the way. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that I can control it. I can drop it down. I've got it right there. That's where I stay most of the time on the boat anyways, behind the helm or whatever. And so, I'm able to pan around. For instance, Monday when I filmed the show, we had to go to a house over in Garden City. By the way, the name of this show is the American Dream Network Television. Has 15 million viewers a week. It's Emmy nominated. And I had my heart broken. I did find out that our segment will only be 4 minutes in this episode.
Yeah, of course.
But that's okay because they borrowed drone video of mine. So if that drone video happens to make it in, if it happened to get an Emmy, then I could say that I shot drone video in an Emmy-winning television series.
Yeah.
But I did drop it down while I was waiting on the host and the camera people up video and real house. I dropped it down over on the main channel, and I turned it around. I'll show you the video. I've got it on the phone. And I saw a sheep's head that probably, I would guess, was somewhere in that range just from looking at the screen. And it was on that piling in the main channel, and it was doing exactly what I knew it did. It would feed on the piling, and then it would get right behind the piling out of the current and sit there.
Right.
And then it would feed, and it looked like a big blob moving around the piling. So I had one shrimp in the live well. And I was waiting because I wanted them to get back down. I wanted somebody to witness it if I actually caught this fish. Mm-hmm. So I put the one shrimp on the Carolina rig, and I went over to that piling, and I dropped it. And literally, when it was going down, I'd say it was about 15 feet down. I think the water at that point was like 18, 20 foot deep. It got down to 15 feet. I saw the rod go like this. And I went to pull and set the hook, and it came flying back. He got my shrimp. I didn't get him, and that was my only bait. But it worked. And the video, I mean, you can't argue with the video. I mean, it shows the fish sitting there, and he swims around the piling. You see him on the piling, like face first, and then you see him go to the bottom, and then you see him just sit right behind it. And
can you pull the video up?
Yeah.
All right, pull it up. I want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, here you go.
I want to talk you through this.
Yeah, you can see it right here. Let's see. So, and there's a little audio in it, too, because I was kind of talking to it, because I was kind of really amazed with myself, because I said, I'm just going to drop this down there real quick and just see. All right, there he is. He's swimming around it.
All right, let me see.
There you go. So I'll share this video. I got to clean it up a little bit. It's got some glare because I was videoing the screen.
All right, so I can see a piling.
Yep. Watch about, if you're on the 46-second video, watch the bottom. He's more on the bottom in that one.
Mm-hmm. I see something sort of hanging off of the piling.
Yep. And then you'll see it kind of start to move up the piling. And then I'll go to the other 20-second video too. But I tell you, the ingenuity of this is incredible. Everybody's been talking about game changer. I think without a doubt, if it's used correctly and people learn it, it is. It's going to be a way to fish all those docks that we don't waste time on, that we know have sheep's head. Feeding on the piling right there. Mm-hmm. Watch it. Yep, there's the audio. There's that audio for you. And it's a pretty big one too. Unfortunately, I don't have any bait. Then I forgot. Then I said, I remember I had one shrimp.
Yeah, so I mean, I can clearly tell there's something there,
right,
stuck to the piling.
Here, let me show you the other one.
No, I mean, why? Other than just knowing that a sheep's head hang around pilings, other than just knowing sheep's head hang around and feed on pilings, why would you say sheep's head?
Just knowing that.
Just the habit, not by the way it looks or anything.
Right, and just knowing too. So I've seen pinfish. So earlier that day, I was at Crazy Sister, and we were waiting on to pick them up, and I dropped it down, and I watched a guy drop a sabiki in and catch a pinfish that we watched on the pilot, and they were they were a minute size on there, and versus that, and this fish ended up having a lot bigger footprint in there.
Right, but I mean,
But I agree, it could be anything.
Could have been a triple tail, right?
It could have been a triple tail. Oh yeah, that would have been more exciting. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep. So it could have been a triple tail. You're right.
well,
You're right.
I mean, I'm just wondering if there's no way by looking at it to tell exactly what it is.
Right. You're not gonna.
You're just using context clues to figure out what it is, right?
That's right. Just like I was saying with just like I was saying about the schools of Spanish and the schools of bait. Sharks are feeding on those menhaden. We know that. They're under them. They're feeding on them. They're following them. I mean, who wouldn't be? It's a big buffet. They're floating down the beach. They're feeding on them. So what we're looking at too is the fact that if I'm watching that, I see these bigger fish swimming, going crazy. We know sharks versus cobia are two different beasts. And then I'm watching and I see this big fish under there that's just kind of doing his own thing. He's hanging out by himself, and just doing his own thing. I'm watching it, and I'm going to go on a long limb and say that that's probably going to be a cobia in my mind. Now, I know the sharks are going to be, we watch them. They feed. They go crazy on those schools. But it is really, really, it's game-changing.
This time of year could have been a cobia. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I want to do. I want to get out there. Hang on. We might have Chuck is going to have to pass until another day.
That's fine.
Yep. He is driving a big rig. And you know what? When you're running that big a business over there, you sometimes have to get dirty.
He's. I know that he is oftentimes busy driving big rigs and tractors and whatnot.
Yep.
So he is excused from the podcast.
He is excused from the podcast, and we will have him. We'll try to get him on next week. But incredible business over there. We've mentioned it. We talk about it every week in the podcast. But if you're looking to buy anything at auction, you're looking for trucks. I mean, I looked on there last week. There's some trucks he's got listed. Great prices.
I'm keeping my eyes open.
Equipment, farm equipment,
side by side is what I'm looking for right now. Yep, I'm waiting on a good side by side. He sent me a couple links of things that are going to be coming up for sale in June, and I'm going to try to buy one before.
Now, June will be the Gov World, or will that be a WorldNet auction?
I think that's a WorldNet auction.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a and that's where most of our. I would think that's where most of our listeners would go. I know that Gov World is a different website and a different sort of set of stuff, but I would think most of our listeners are going to want to go to WorldNet. Yeah, but that's where the side by sides and most of the farm equipment.
Gov World is going to be all your city and county
heavy equipment stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, bulldozers and tracos and that.
Hey, you can get an old
trucks.
Police car. I know people that love buying old police cars.
Yeah, police cars, bucket trucks, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. A bucket truck would be good, man. You could go around. I'm telling you, a bucket truck here, I'll tell you from my experience in landscaping, if you had a bucket truck, you could go around in August or July and August and trim palms for people with a bucket truck and make a ton of money. But a bucket truck would be the key because I am not a ladder man. I told Mike Brady the one time he told me I had to go 20 feet on a ladder with a saw, I said, I'm done, dude. Yeah. I'm done. I need money bad, but I don't need it that bad. I'm scared of heights.
Bucket trucks make good, quick deer stands, too.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, paint that thing camo, move it around.
Yeah, good mossy oak.
Wow.
Paint job on a bucket truck.
That is funny. All right, so you've been working on the property. I know I'm going to slide out there and get a little bit of drone video for you.
Yeah.
How's everything going out there? What stage are you at right now?
It's good. I hope I'm not snorting too much in the microphone.
As I'm coughing now, I'm like, oh my gosh, he gave it to me. Keep going.
I'm done with it now. I'm just trying to get rid of all the residual snorting and snotting. But I feel fine. Yeah, we're in the process of thinning. I had a bunch of timber on the property. It needed to be thinned. It missed its last thinning when I didn't own it, and it needed to be thinned maybe 3-4 years ago. And so there was a bunch of timber that needed to come off of it. So we took the back, let's say the back 70, and thinned it real thin, like plantation style.
Yep.
30, 35 trees an acre. Quail woods is what you would think of when you saw it. When you see it looks like quail woods, thinned at Quail Woods all the way down to the swamp. So you can see all the topography and the relief and the change in elevation all the way down to the swamp. So it goes from high plantation timber, thin like Quail Woods, and rolls right into cypress and oaks on the bottom. Real pretty. The top 70 or the top 60, I guess I should say, is almost exclusively pine plantation, and we've thinned that like one every 3 rows, something like that.
Oh, so you did. That's the part where I've been. That's where I went fat lighter hunting, right? Or is that?
Yeah, I think you didn't go very far in.
I didn't.
No,
Okay.
you didn't.
We made it in and went to loop. That's all we did.
Yeah, so you didn't see hardly any of it. Everything on the front side is thinned once every 3 rows now, and so I've got shooting lanes everywhere.
Yep.
I've got roads, shooting lanes, lots of access. The home site is cut in there, or the metal building site is cut in there.
When will that start going in? Of course, you're not in a big hurry now because you'll be gone and not be able to enjoy it. Or
they're supposed to be. I'm trying to get dirt delivered. I would love to have had it delivered this week, but it just hadn't worked out. As soon as I can get dirt delivered, they're putting the concrete pad in. The building's there. It's on site. It's just they've got to assemble it. They've got to erect it.
Stuart Rick's getting your dirt for you? Who's getting you dirt?
Well, Stuart's doing the site work, but we're looking for somebody that's got a pit out that way. So I don't have any dirt
Lucas.
yet. Yeah, but somebody'd have to truck it in. I don't know. We'll talk to Lucas. We'll see.
You need, because he's got trucks nonstop. That guy, whoever he's selling to, he's selling a bunch every day.
I'm not. So the big thing with dirt, like dirt's not expensive.
It's the hauling.
The hauling's what's expensive, and I think Lucas is probably. I would think he's 30 minutes from
30
me.
minutes at least.
Yeah, so it might not be cost effective, but I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, because I was thinking about I need to go to his house. That's why I need to go to Lucas's. I'm actually going to help Kristen and him, but more Kristen, plan their entranceway and some shrubs and different things that they're going to do over there. So I need to go there anyway. That's why I was saying I might slip out this afternoon and take the drone and go get you some video. Some aerial video over there of the property. Is there a name for it? Did you come up with a name?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I've got a couple ideas. One is the nest.
Okay.
Do you get it?
I get it.
Is it good?
Yep, I like it.
Do you?
Yep.
Don't lie.
I get it. I like it. I like it. What's the name of your boat? I can't remember. What was the boat name?
Yellowbird.
Oh, that's right. You're always going to be Yellowbird. I forgot.
Even though the boat's not yellow.
No.
Got a new boat coming. As you know, I've told you I got a new boat coming, and I actually considered changing the name because,
Did you make them make a yellow boat?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to go with a yellow boat.
Okay. All right.
Now, yellow boat's sort of like a pink boat. Like Freeman made a pink boat. They made a special did a pink boat for a woman down in the Isle of Palms.
Oh, wow.
And it's a great boat, but what's the resale going to be like on a pink boat?
Zero.
Right. Now, CV makes a yellow boat, and evidently people buy them. But I don't think I'm brave enough to custom order a yellow boat, knowing that I might not be able to get the resale value out of it that I want.
Right.
So,
even though it's a Freeman.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I don't.
Right.
I think that might knock $50,000 right off the top.
Yep.
For somebody looking to buy one.
Right.
It's sort of like a red truck. They always have a hard time getting rid of fire engine red trucks.
Yep.
And they end up having to discount them. And people will buy them because they'll discount them. But they're discounted. And I don't want to discount my boat when I go to resell it.
No, because you did good on the last one.
Yeah, I don't want to discount a boat.
You did good on the last one, but you take care of your stuff, and that is all. I'll tell you, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give you anybody out there. If you ever think that you just know you're going to sell your boat at some point in time, take care of the thing.
Oh, man.
I know a good friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, who doesn't take that good a care of his boat, but it's a lot of work. It is.
It is a lot of work.
Break out another 1,000. I know that's the truth. We know it, but taking care of it can make the biggest difference. Spending that extra hour on it with a brush.
Honestly, I've taken a different approach. My approach has been to hire somebody to do it.
To do it.
And as crazy as that sounds, it's really not that expensive.
It's not.
You know, especially if you're splitting up fuel with a bunch of guys, split up. Like, nobody wants to stay in your driveway till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night cleaning a boat after you've been on the ocean all day long.
Amen.
All 4 or 5 of those people will pay you another $50 or $25, $50, whatever it might be, to go home immediately afterwards. And guess what? The guy will clean fish too.
Hey, we'll give Carson a big shout out. Of course, he's going to. I'll be honest with you, he's going to be a captain by the next time you have a boat.
Yeah.
But
there are
Carson is awesome because he also was cleaning your fish for you.
Right. There are lots of teenagers in coastal communities.
Yep.
Merle's Inlet's one of them. Georgetown's certainly one of them. I'm sure Charleston's got a million of them. There are lots of teenagers that love being around boats, that love fixing and cleaning and doing that kind of stuff and getting experience, being mates. They want to do that. And if you say, hey, I'll pay you $100, $100 to clean my boat, they'll do it.
Yep.
They'll do it. And you know what? When you get home and you're tired and you're like beat up and you're salty, you just walk inside and take a shower.
Yep.
And it is such an amazing thing. And I don't know why more people don't do it. I really don't. And it's not that expensive.
It's not that bad.
It's not.
And I'll say, on the other side of that is the fact that so many people, how many friends of yours have really nice boats and really don't fish a lot? I mean, we're not talking about your cousin. We're not talking about Stuart Riggs. We're talking about some of your other friends have bigger boats and they don't fish a lot.
Sure.
And a lot of it is because they know the time that it takes to get ready to go offshore, to fish, spend the day, come back, and then you really, I mean, if you end up getting stuck, which it happens a lot to all of us boat owners, unfortunately, the guy wants to pitch in on bait and pitch in on gas, but when you get back, he's the first one to his truck and he's gone.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're the one stuck. So a lot of people don't use the boat as much.
Everybody's got an excuse. 5 o'clock in the afternoon after you're done fishing, everybody's got an excuse. I've
been on both ends of it.
Right, I have too, 100%. I didn't tell you I got a date with my wife tonight. Yeah. It's my anniversary. I'm supposed to pick up the kids. You know, my daughter's got to dance. Whatever it is, somebody's got an excuse, and they're going home. And you know what? You're stuck with it.
Yep.
You're stuck with the whole thing.
You're stuck with it.
And $100 to a kid that'll do it, not a big deal. And you know what? The next day when you get up, the boat will be washed. The fish will be cleaned. And if you need to do a little detail work, that's fine.
Yep.
You know, but you're not spending 3 hours on it.
No.
You know, you're not busting your hump at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, I had a great meeting with, of course, you know of anybody as much as anybody does from your position, but we're growing a lot here in Myrtle's Inlet and the South Strand, and boating has grown a lot, and storage for boats and HOAs.
Can't do it.
Never mind. Anyway,
there's nowhere to put them.
So I met with Phil Elvis today, Elvis Storage and Elvis Services. You know, they're known for their porta potties, but they do a lot more than that. And they bought that property on Pond Road here in Myrtle's Inlet, which is, for those that aren't from here, obviously it's like 2 miles from the inlet. Yeah, where you can put in. And they have built an incredible store. I got to walk through and do a tour. Incredible storage facility. The 1,000 square foot bays, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you know, with our growth that we're experiencing and with wanting to offer hats, shirts, and everything else with Trilogy and the rodeo on it, we need storage. So we had a good meeting today.
Good.
We had a good meeting today. So
we need more of that here.
Yep, we do. And and he's got some future property that possibly might end up being the same. He's going to see how this goes. But, you know, it's really nice to know that how many times you clean because you keep your boat outside or inside?
Well, I kept it outside at a storage yard here. I'm going to keep it in my storage building where I'm at the farm is what I'm planning.
Oh, okay.
The new boat.
Yeah. So how many times you clean the boat, you spend your time, and then you go put it up for 2 weeks and it sits.
It's dirty.
And it's dirty before you go fishing.
Oh, it's totally dirty. Before you need to knock all the pollen and dirt off of it before you go fishing.
Yep. And that's what I told Phil today. I said, you know, without a doubt, like for the boaters to come, you go clean the boat, you bring it back, you put it in storage, and guess what? It's going to look the way it did when you put it in there.
Yeah.
You're not going to be blowing leaves out of it, pine needles and everything else, and doilies, I call them, or what are those little it's from a pine tree, right? What do they call it? The little doilies or whatever, the
helicopters?
Curly Q helicopters, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to blow them out of it. So it's a great idea. So if you want to check into that, if you're down here in the Grand Strand area looking for boat storage, great place opening up over there. So give them a shout and check them out. And the other things are, man, Wakawachi I guess was bought by an interest group, an investment group or whatever. Have you seen the storage that they built? They've added on.
I haven't.
Holy
been down there.
it's only a mile away, dude.
I know. I don't ever go that way.
Oh no. They have added tons of outside storage. And basically you've got there where you tell them, hey, I'm coming going fishing, or I want the boat at this hour. They go put it on the lift, they get it down, put it in the water, have it ready to go for you.
Yeah.
Another great option, and you got the river over there. But I can only do so much in the river. I'm sorry.
I'm the same way. I love living where I live because I can be in the ocean in about 5 minutes. I can be in the river in about 2 minutes.
Yep.
And you can go back and forth between the two in a day. Which, by the way, we talked about the
doing a tournament.
What did we call it? We need to come up with a name if we don't have a name already.
Dude, can we do that before you leave?
Yes.
All right.
So what is the goal? Is a bass and a flounder within an hour?
A certain amount of time. Yeah, like an hour.
A bass and a flounder.
Yep.
Or any inshore saltwater, any inshore freshwater?
I would say any freshwater. I would say any inshore, any freshwater. Or we try to see how many different species. We do 4 hours. Say we do 4 hours.
Yeah.
We have basically 4 hours, and that includes our time, and we'll video the entire thing live. And we have 4 hours, and that includes the time we put the boat in the water to whichever one we go to first, which we need to make sure we check the tides.
Yeah.
And then we go from one ever to the other and just see how many species we can catch. We could go use Carroll Campbell and go to Sampit and then do it and then run back out and go to the bay and never put the boat on a trailer. But I think we really wanted to showcase here.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah. We could do, so the name I came up with for.
Yeah, you came up with a name for it.
Well, I came up with the name for Merle's Inlet 2020. I came up with the name for excuse me, I'm snorting again. I came up with the name for the bike path. You remember what it's called?
Nope.
The Eye to Eye. Inlet to intercoastal.
Intercoastal.
Water. The Eye to Eye tournament. I like it.
I do too.
The Eye to Eye.
Eye to Eye. You're right. That's perfect. All right. So I'm texting with Lucas because I know he was here when we came up with this idea. Him and Tony, I think. Or was it Tony and Kenny? Tony and Jason. I can't remember.
We should preview this amongst our friends.
Yep.
And then we ought to open it up wide to maybe rodeo listeners.
Oh, you mean make it a tournament?
Make it a real tournament.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
The Eye to Eye. You've got to fish both freshwater and saltwater in the same day.
Yep.
And how would we do it? Total weight?
Yeah, and I would think that total weight, and then we can do a point system.
What if somebody catches like a 15-pound catfish?
That's the thing. Then you're going to, yeah.
So we'd have to do a point system.
I think we do a point system on species.
Yeah.
So, however many species you catch in each one, and then maybe have like our biggest flounder. Do that. Do a biggest flounder, biggest bass, or something, and then do maybe biggest brim, biggest redfish or something, and then everything else just be points for like catching multiple species. I don't know. It sounds like a great idea.
I think it'd be super cool.
Yep.
It would be super cool.
I can tell you this: Waka Wachi would be all in on doing something at their place. They're all about. They want to get a tournament down there. I think I mentioned that about one idea that we had. We left bass out of the Grand Strand Fishing Rodeo.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
No kill.
With no kill. So they have mentioned that they would like to host a bass tournament. And what if we did a bass tournament? This is separate from what we're talking about, but did a bass tournament there, and the entries be above and beyond the rodeo, but you had to be in the rodeo to be in it to start off with.
Right.
And we do the top, since we're not doing bass at all, we do the top 3 teams, the top 3 finishing teams, or maybe just the winner gets their name. They basically have won a species. They get qualified for the grand prize. I thought that would be a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
Because we do have a lot of bass fishermen that have signed up.
Yeah, so you get in the rodeo.
Yep.
And then you pay a supplemental, whatever, $100 fee or whatever.
For the tournament.
For the Eye to Eye tournament.
Yep.
And if you win the Eye to Eye tournament, then you get thrown into the grand prize.
Thrown into the grand prize.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. All right.
I like it. And you get to win prizes, obviously, at the Eye to Eye tournament.
At the Eye to Eye. So
Yeah.
you win. Yeah. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
All right. Do we? I think it needs to be specific to us. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be specific to here. I listen. We all know that tons of people go up Sampit River and catch trout, brim.
Yeah.
I mean, trout, flounder, reds,
Bass.
all
Yeah.
right there together. But this is about Merle's Inlet. We need to make sure that it's here.
Yeah, we have geographic boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just say you can't go whatever south of
Huntington, south of Huntington and south of Brook Green.
Yeah, right.
Wait.
Or Sandy Island.
Yeah, Sandy Island. Yeah, can't do that.
Can't go south of Sandy Island.
Yeah.
Can't go south of Sandy Island. Can't go north of Socastee. Can't go south of Huntington Beach State Park. Can't go north of the Causeway, Garden City Causeway.
Oh boy, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's going under there anyway.
Right, but I mean that would confine your north-south boundaries exactly where you want them.
Dude, I love it. Oh, I love it.
I think it'd be super cool.
Oh yeah. So my goal, if nothing else, we don't have this set up, and I don't think it'll happen between then. Nothing else, we're going to go do it ourselves. We're going to go.
We'll go preview it.
Yeah, we'll go preview it.
And then we'll schedule the tournament on a day where the tide would be just right to do both. We'll have to figure that out. So
Or we could make it where it's you can start at either side.
Yeah.
But then you're going to get a traffic jam at the friggin' landing either way.
You would.
You'd almost have to stop the clock because then you're going to have people racing. I can see people racing up Walkawatchee Road.
Yeah.
Watch us all road trying to get to Merle's Inlet to beat everybody to the landing. We'd have to say like, okay, at 12 o'clock the time stops and it'll start back at 1 or something. You know what I mean? Like you have an hour to get your boat out the water, get moved, get up there, and then you can start fishing in the salt water.
Yeah, well, probably just like, weigh-ins at 4 or something like that on a day that we know you're going to have a good incoming tide in the inlet.
Yep.
And you're going to have a good incoming tide or whatever.
All right. I'm seeing it right now. You ready for so here's I'm seeing the graphics right now. So
Okay. Yep.
So I'm seeing eye to eye.
Yep.
I'm seeing an outline of, you ready for this?
Yep.
An outline of a bass eye.
Yeah.
With a map of the intercoastal and the rivers inside of it.
Yeah.
Inside of it.
Yeah.
And then the other eye obviously would be a flounder eye or redfish maybe, something bigger, but
With the inlet inside.
with the inlet inside of it.
Eye to
the
eye.
logo. Eye to eye. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I love it. We're always thinking, dude. We're always thinking. Oh, by the way, you just found out this morning that you are now partners in a new podcast. So we got to plug them. I'm telling you, it's insane. I've been telling you all along.
I'm looking
that
forward
an
to
audience-driven podcast would be incredible. We had 50 people show up. I don't know, 47, but we had a great crowd last night at Jason, and it does feature Captain Jason Burton and his crew, MIFC. The name is Captain's Felonious Reports, and it was a blast to commentate and to moderate, whatever you want to call it. It was a good time. We had lots of laughs. It is not made for small children. I'll just go ahead and tell you that NOAA has issued a small kid advisory for it, but it is unbelievable.
Well, it's called Captain's Felonious Reports.
Captain's Felonious Report.
I think the parental advisory is in the name.
Right in the name. So, and the fact that the logo is the top of a barrel of whiskey, I think that tells you a little bit too. But, man, we had a great time. The guys were awesome. Great responses. We're waiting on some things to get done, technical stuff, intros and everything else, and we'll get it up there. But super excited to be producing it. And, again, a lot different than us, but still a lot of the same personalities will be, intermingled between the two. But it's going to be every Tuesday at 5:30 at Merle's Inlet Fishing Charters. We want people to come out. I mean, just for instance, one of the things we're doing is a word of the day. It's a big boy show. But word of the day, and it's not a cuss word, but the word of the day yesterday was captain, okay? So I'm sitting with 9 captains, interviewing them, talking to them. And when you would introduce somebody, everybody in the crowd had to take a jug of their beverage, adult beverage or not. So every time, because we were playing it through a speaker so everybody could hear it. So every time we would say captain, everybody in the background would scream and they'd take a chug. So it's got some audience participation in it. Shared some tips, shared some info, but for the most part, honestly, just shared a little bit of behind the scenes stuff from charters. And really and truthfully, Jason will tell you, it all came from the podcast that we did. Of course, we've done a bunch with those guys, but we sat down there and did tell some stories and stuff, and they got some good responses from it. And we did too. So when he came to me, I said, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's try it. I mean, if nothing else, it's Tuesdays. It's an hour and a half of my time, and we'll see what happens with it and where it goes from there. But it'll be up on the podcast platforms probably by the weekend, I hope. But today's Wednesday, right? My days are running together. Wednesday. It should be up by the weekend, and hopefully we'll get it on a rotation where it comes in on Tuesdays, and then we'll come on Mondays, hopefully, or whatever day during the week that we can get you until June when you're gone, and then we'll schedule Mondays for our day to do Trilogy Outdoors. But it was pretty good. It was fun. It's interesting, entertaining. I'll just say that. Somebody said it. Somebody described it as Joe Rogan. Hang on, I'm trying to remember how he described it because they stopped by for about 30 minutes and they said Joe Rogan. Gosh, dog it, who was it that said it? Anyway, it was great. Hang on. Oh, well, no. Somebody said it's Joe Rogan's experience on Jason's big wooden deck. But that is what it is. But anyway, if you're down in the Grand Strand area, put that on your list of things to do on vacation. Come down to Marsh Walk, enjoy dinner at Dead Dog or Claw House or any of the restaurants down there, and come see us at 5:30. We're down there, weather permitting, every Tuesday. There was what else was I going to ask you about? So I saw the governor put the big word out this week that you guys are going to pass these bills before y'all get to go home for the summer.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the big things? The heartbeat bill is.
Abortion is,
it's done, right? Or is it still?
No, it never ends. It never ends. Every year there's another abortion bill, and it's back again this year. The Senate passed a bill. The House passed a bill. Neither the Senate nor the House wanted to pass each other's bills. So finally the House has agreed that they are going to take a shot at passing the Senate's bill, which would, quite honestly, it would. We have become I don't really want to get into abortion here on the podcast, but
right.
Most people would agree, I think most people would agree, using abortion for birth control is an abhorrent thing.
Right.
Right. And that's as far as I'll go on the political side of it,
Yep.
other than to say that South Carolina has become a destination for abortion now that our laws have opened up, because the Supreme Court struck down our last law that we had on the books. And so South Carolina's abortion, right now it's 20 weeks you can have an abortion in South Carolina, and so all the surrounding states have more stringent.
Right.
So lots of folks coming from other states flocking into South Carolina. We've got 3 times the number of abortions in March and April of this year that we did last year. We're going to end up with 12,000 abortions in South Carolina this year. And we're usually 3,500 to 4,000.
Wow.
And so certainly something needs to be done about that. And so that is being debated right now in the House. If the House passes the Senate's bill, they'll probably put some amendments. It'll come back to the Senate. We'll have to vote on it. And then hopefully that'll be resolved.
So Charleston is the closest Planned Parenthood place to us. Is that I'm oblivious to.
Yeah, I don't.
Clinics. Or is there a clinic in the Grand Strand area?
I bet there is. English.
You bet there is, but it's not publicized.
Yeah,
okay.
Not well known. There's certainly one in Columbia. I know there's one up in the upstate. No, there's one in Charleston. It's got to be one at the beach. If I had to, I don't run by it every day, but I would bet there is.
Right. I understand.
Yeah, but that's probably the biggest thing. The Senate's passed a lot of bills this year, including like bond reform.
Right.
Big deal.
The bond reform we needed.
We needed it badly. I mean, catch and release is not it's just not, that's not cool. That's not good for anybody. Especially guys that are like felons in possession of guns.
Yep.
I mean, that's something that we should all be able to get behind. If you're a felon and, convicted felon in possession of a gun, we ought to burn you up.
Yep.
We ought to burn you up because you're up to no good.
That's right.
Right? I mean,
You're right. You're right.
You're up to no good. You know you shouldn't be having a gun, and those guys are walking around with guns tucked in their pockets. And no matter how you feel about gun rights, felon in possession of a gun is not a good.
Did our sheriff here have to come up and testify or talk about anything? Because I know I spoke with him several times, and he said he was in Colombia. He actually, the one time he said he was going to see you at dinner or something. So it must have been something else. He was up there for something. Maybe it was the governor's speech. The governor, the state of the state or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. He was there for something. I know. I texted with
Could
him.
have been. He comes up every so often.
I know he's very, very vocal again, about the reform that needs to happen. I mean, look at the recent murders that have happened down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt
You're
about
talking about a guy who's out on bond for murder.
it. Yeah. Imagine how that is. I can't understand it. The
Imagine that family. God.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible. It's horrible. There is a...
To be that judge to go to bed at night, that's the thing. I'm sorry. I'll leave that alone. But
No, there are some cases where it is more complicated than it seems because the Supreme Court, in specific the Chief Justice, has made certain edicts, has made certain things known to magistrates that, bonds are super important to him and super important to the Supreme Court, and, they shall not be infringed, so to speak. And so folks that are employed by the judicial system have felt for years like they need to be giving out bonds like candy. And I think that is that's a function of higher ups telling them that. The only way to fix that is for the General Assembly to speak and say, nope, that's not the case. Here's the case. In the absence of the General Assembly passing a law, court administration, Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice are the ones that sort of dictate how bonds are going to get done.
right.
And so for years and years and years, we've had, he's a good guy, but we've had a Democrat Chief Justice of the Supreme Court that has been dictating a lot of policy through the court administration and, down to bonds. And so, we give a lot of the judges hard times, and sometimes it's deserving, but a lot of times they're just following orders.
Yep.
And so now I hope the General Assembly has spoken and said how important it is. And in the last few weeks, I've seen judges responding very well. Judge Stillwell, I don't know if I should have called his name or not, but I did anyway. Judge Stillwell, great guy. He's denying bonds left and right nowadays. He came to Georgetown, denied a bunch of bonds 2-3 weeks ago.
Good for him.
Yeah, and so, I think the process is coming sort of full circle now. It was probably at some point in time too stringent.
Yep.
It got way too loose, and now it's coming back around probably where it needs to be. And, there are some things, there are some DUI firsts, okay? Some kid's stupid, he's not going to reoffend. DUIs are horrible. They can ruin your life. They can kill people. I'm not suggesting they can't, but
exactly.
This is a kid that did something stupid. It's not going to reoffend. He needs a bond, right? Marijuana usage, you probably need a bond. The drug trafficker coming down 95 with 50 pounds of methamphetamine and fentanyl probably doesn't need a bond. Doesn't need a bond.
Thank you.
Right?
Amen.
Tied to the cartels. Doesn't need a bond. Doesn't need a bond. Murder, don't need a bond. You don't need a bond. There are lots of situations where you need bonds, and there are situations where you don't, and we just have to have some common sense put back into the law.
There's no doubt about it. A couple other things real quick. Have you known about the PGA Tour event that was coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you did.
The chamber was working on that for a while.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So exciting. Do you know the name of it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, Myrtle Beach. It's Visit Myrtle Beach. It's Visit Myrtle Beach something. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it's the chamber. It's under the chamber.
Yeah, I'll have to look back. I know that I got sent.
I can tell you one thing. They're playing the Dunes Club, and every club professional championship, National Club Professional, was here several years ago. The Energizer Senior Tour Championship was here. Every tour, every tournament event that's played at Dunes Club, they leave going, place is incredible. So
yeah,
it's going to be awesome to have them coming here, for sure. Anyway, I got to go get the kids. So
all right, man.
we're going to get out of here.
Yeah.
And listen, I'll go get your drone up, and I'll go get the drone up and try. If I don't do it this afternoon, I'll get out there in the morning. We'll talk about it and maybe meet. But
hey, one more thing.
Yep.
We mentioned this on the podcast a few months ago.
Yep.
The guys that got caught cheating in the walleye tournament.
You told me this. They went to jail.
They went to jail.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the news article come up the other day. I figured I'd mention it, just close the loop, close the circle in this conversation. We were curious what's going to happen to them. They got jail time.
Well, I forgot that you told me that because they had already. I know maybe they had been to one. They went to one court hearing and they lost the boat. Remember,
Right.
they took the new boat back, one of the other boats back, and then some other stuff. But no, I did not. I didn't until you texted me. I did not know they went to jail.
You know, you might think it's just a fishing tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fraud.
Exactly.
Right?
You're exactly right.
It's fraud. So be very careful. Be very careful about that.
That's right. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you knocking out one of these and hanging out. And it's always fun to talk fins, fur, and feathers. And we'll be right here next week with another episode of Trilogy Outdoors. Freeman Boat Works and Trilogy Outdoors are proud to announce the addition of Freeman Boat Works to our family of incredible partners. Billy Freeman and his team at Freeman Boat Works epitomize the American dream. From building the first boat in Billy's backyard to a 150,000 square foot state-of-the-art manufacturing plant over the past 15 years, they are building one of the most sought-after boats in the U.S. and beyond. These incredible fishing platforms are built in South Carolina and are second to none in stability, speed, and performance overall. These catamaran designs are engineered not only to get you to the fish fast, but comfortably too. Years of refining designs and pioneering the modern performance fishing catamaran is why Freeman Boat Works is the #1 choice for some of the biggest names in the fishing industry. If it's long runs in the Gulf or the Carolinas, or days you can go fishing in South Florida when most center consoles stay at the dock, Freeman Boat Works is at the forefront in all categories. For more information on Freeman Boat Works and their 6 available models, visit www.freemanboatworks.com. Redefine your expectations.
For over 8 years, GovWorld Auctions has been solving surplus issues for municipalities and counties in South Carolina and beyond. Their turnkey customer service has made them one of the best in the business here in the U.S., and they are located right here in our home state of South Carolina. If you're looking for tractors, heavy machines, and vehicles, just to name a few, our partners at GovWorld have you covered. The process is simple, and their experts will come to you to inspect, photograph, and video all items before they make them available to everyone in the world for the bidding process. GovWorld online auctions are supported by mailers, emails, and promotion to the biggest buyers in the country, and they get results and the highest dollar possible for your items. Don't go out of state to another auction company. Support business here in South Carolina and let GovWorld get you top dollar for your items and put the money back in your city, municipality, or county. Give GovWorld a call or visit their website, govworld.com, for more info and to set up a visit with one of their experts to get you in the next auction. Don't let valuable items just sit behind a fence. Give GovWorld a call and start turning them into money today. Recently, Senator Goldfinch and myself were introduced to Healthy Cell and their incredible line of products. Stephen started on a regimen of taking Focus and Recall after each daily workout to help his body recover from the physical demand of a workout and to help boost his focus and brain power that he needs on long days on the Senate floor. For myself, the last few years, I've been struggling to get the recommended amount of vitamins and nutrients in my body due to decreased appetite. When I was introduced to Bioactive Multi, I was excited to start a daily regimen that I felt would help my performance both on and off the water and would give me more energy to get through long days and increase my productivity. With Bioactive Multi, I know that I am getting the FDA daily recommended amounts, and with the mixed berry flavor and the ease of swallowing, my body is able to absorb these vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants through the proprietary gel format that Healthy Cell has created. This allows my body to quickly absorb and start using these valuable nutrients to help me get through long, busy days, just like we all go through in our daily lives. Go visit healthycell.com/trilogy and use our promo code TRILOGY, all caps, to receive 20% off of your first order and start living a better life today. Trilogy Outdoors Podcast is a product of Trilogy Outdoors Media. All views and opinions of our hosts and guests are not necessarily those of our sponsors. Trilogy Outdoors is produced and edited by Trilogy Outdoors Media. Be sure to follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, don't forget our other brands, Southern English Radio Show and Walk 'Em All Outdoor Magazine. To find more information, visit TrilogyOutdoorsMedia.com. And remember, if it's anything dealing with fins, fur, and feathers, you're going to find it right here on Trilogy Outdoors.